Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the 10 worst things about college. In my opinion, there's more, but I picked 10 to share for this one. Usually everyone always talks about the good of college, and don't get me wrong, there's so many good things, and I might make a video later about the top 10 good parts about college, but today I wanted to flip that around and focus on the negative. Before I get into it though, it says that 90% of you guys are not subbed. And I hate saying this, but please sub if you can. It'll go a long way in helping me, and it'll keep you posted with my college content or whatever else you guys want to see. Alright, let's get into it. The first negative of college is going to be having to apply to basically every single extracurricular, and sometimes even your major. So I'll hit that last one first. In some colleges, certain majors have specific schools tied to them that have separate requirements and higher level classes and things like that that are on a more prestigious level than the school itself. And a perfect example is me at UNC. I made a video a couple weeks back about applying to the business school because business here is a pretty high-end major, and they're not just letting anyone do it. It was a really long application. I ended up getting rejected, so I have to reapply. So I don't even really have a major right now, and it's the same for like advertising, public relations at my school. Of course, med school is a whole thing on its own, but I'm not really counting that. And yeah, so if your school has something like that for the majors that you want to do, it's going to be a bit of an extra grind. But in terms of clubs and other extracurriculars, in high school there's only like a very select few that you have to apply for, like NHS and stuff like that. But in college, like I said, pretty much every one you have to fill out an application for, and there's a chance that you might not get into the club. And I'm not talking about like board positions like treasurer, vice president, whatever. That kind of stuff, like literally just to be in the club itself, sometimes takes a whole process. And it's really annoying, especially if you just find something that you're sure you want to do, but you're not sure if you're actually going to get into it. So you have to think of backups and all the other stuff. So yeah, that is one thing that I was not expecting going into college, but it definitely exists. The next thing is having to take completely unrelated classes to your major. Now, I understand where this idea comes from. Some of the required topics are important in life in general. Like in my school, we have a communication requirement that like helps with your public speaking or something in that category. And then there's also a couple of basic math requirements. But when you have requirements to take a class about history in like the 1600s and you're a neuroscience major, like that doesn't make too much sense to me. Like I took a ancient history class last semester because it was required, and I did not really enjoy it that much. I mean, it wasn't a terrible class. I just wasn't super interested in it. It was a lot of reading, and all of that was just for one general education credit, and it's gonna really do nothing to my hopeful business degrees. So yeah, that's another part of college on the academic side. That's kind of annoying, but if you want to save yourself some pain in the future, just take all of the required boring ones in your first few semesters to get them over with. Third, dorms. Again, don't get me wrong, dorm life is fun. It's something that everyone should experience, but there are downsides that come along with it, namely the bugs. I can't tell you the amount of times I looked to the side of my bed or right under the door and seen some bug that I did not know existed. And you have to come up with creative ways to kill it sometimes. So those are there, and then there's also, if you stayed in a type of dorm that I did last year, it's gonna be at least like 5, 6, even 8 people sharing one bathroom, which can get super annoying if you're in the morning on a rush to go to class and someone's in the shower, you have to wait or just say screw it and go, or if you just need to use the bathroom in general. And then just the overall like cleanliness of dorms, you gotta maintain that, and I know that's not always easy as a student, but it can get dirty real quick, and once it does, you're not gonna have a good time doing work or sleeping in there. Not to mention if you have a problem with any of your roommates or suite mates, that's gonna be tricky. Next up is the competitiveness of college, especially if you're going to a slightly upper tier college. The competitiveness is definitely going to be higher than high school, because in that college you're competing against everyone that already got in, already had good grades, and now they're going to work to do that in college, and it's just an elevated playing field per se. So the average GPA is going to go up. The people that you're competing against to apply to, like I said, clubs or your major or stuff like that, that's going to go up. So you really have to try harder than you did in high school and college, assuming that you didn't do like perfect in high school. That's not to say one bad grade or one pass fail or anything like that is gonna screw you over. It's not, but I'm just saying that the overall degree of competitiveness is gonna be tougher. Another one, it's a simple one, but money. College costs a lot of money. Aside from your tuition, which already might cost a lot, you have extra costs with housing, food, and literally any other thing that you do on campus is likely going to cost you a little bit. I made a whole video showing my exact total cost for college, including all of these, and it does add up. So make sure at the beginning of the semester, as you're seeing how much everything costs, just keep that in mind and budget as you go forward. Because as someone who had their card denied while buying a $2 bagel for breakfast, you don't want that to happen to you. Number 5, 6, one of them is assignments on assignments. You get a billion assignments in college, and some of them might just be busy work that require not much brain power, but a lot of them also do require you to write a lot. At my school, there's a writing requirement for classes in the College of Arts and Sciences that require the teacher to assign you at least 5 or 10 pages of writing per semester. And if you're like me and just doing like multiple choice stuff comes easier than writing, it can be a struggle sometimes. And when you're getting things assigned to you every single day and then due dates are approaching every single day, it's a lot to keep up with, more than high school for sure. And on top of that, you have to be the one keeping tabs on all of it. You're not gonna have teachers remind you about stuff that's due. You have to take the initiative to do everything on time. And if you turn it in late, not many professors are forgiving about that. Then to kind of go along with that is honestly just less free time in college. And I know that it's usually the opposite. Most people think that coming into college you're going to have way more free time than high school because you're not in one building for the whole day and you have a lot of free time to do whatever you want. And while in many cases that's true, if you have a bunch of assignments like I talked about in the last point, which you most likely will, that's going to build up and it's going to equal the same, if not less, free time as you had before. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if you do, then your grades are going to fall. So it's really a balance that you have to find. And you have to, like I said in a video a while ago, you have to create a routine and make sure that you figure out what your priorities are. And once you do, you're going to find that you don't have much time in the day to just hang out or chill or take a nap. And it really sucks. But that's what comes with college, and sometimes weekends do go a long way in saving that, but not always. Moving on to the social side of things, there is a pretty big pressure to be social in college, and you might like that. You might be an extrovert, really good at handling that, but for all of us introverts out there who know that we just need some time to ourselves every day to be able to focus and be happier, you sometimes don't get that in college. You can, but it always feels like there's this pressure to be hanging out with someone or to be in a club meeting or to be in the library but with friends. There's always something like that that's in your mind. And even though saying no is the right thing to do sometimes, especially like I said for us introverts, it's not always easy to. And you're gonna find that out pretty quickly as friend groups start to form. And to go with that, I've said this in a previous video too, but forming friends in college is way harder than it seems. There's this notion coming into college usually that making friends is a lot easier because everyone's in the same position as you, and that's true, but it's a very small period of time in the beginning of freshman year where everyone's really looking to make friends, and if you miss that, it becomes a lot more challenging to get more friend groups, and you're likely going to be disconnecting from a lot of your high school friends that went to different colleges. No matter how tight you thought that bond was or how long it took you to form it, there's always a chance that you're just gonna start talking less and less, and that's just natural because a lot of people are forming these new friends in college unless you get sent home back to where everyone lived in high school like we did because of COVID, but we're not gonna consider that. Yeah, it's natural and it's not a bad thing too. Like they're still gonna be there and you can always keep talking to them, but when you see your high school friends less and less and less in person, it's honestly inevitable, but there are definitely a few cases where you can salvage some of these relationships, and if your college is like close together and you can visit, then do that. And that's why I say that if you're a senior watching this, enjoy this summer because it's gonna be like the real last time that all of you and your high school friends are together. And then finally, exam season. Exam season usually spans 2 weeks before winter break and then before summer break, obviously, and it is the most stressful time of the year. You're gonna spend like every second of free time that you get, you're gonna be thinking about what you should be studying for, and you're gonna feel guilty for not studying for it, and you're gonna end up walking to the library and studying for it instead, because some of these classes finals are like a big percentage and you can't afford to really do bad on them. So yeah, this is the week where like the least socialization happens. It's the weeks where the libraries are packed. It's just a lot to focus on, especially given that the finals for some classes are like the day after your final for another one, and you could have like 4 finals in 1 week or even 2 finals in 1 day. Yeah, exam season is not fun, but that moment you finish it, that moment you submit your last final, it's the greatest feeling in the world because you know you're about to get like a 1 month long or even 3 month long if it's spring break. And yeah, that feeling's just worth all the stress that you put in to get to it. But yeah, that is gonna do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're in college, comment anything that you think I might have missed. Might make a part 2. Might make a side for the best things, like I said. But yeah, other than that, drop a like, drop a sub. I'll see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.